Anakin walked with grace. As Shepard walked beside him with a determined expression on his face. "Can you tell me more about you?" Anakin asked. He needed to know who he is working with. "Shepard, what can I say? It's not much to tell. I was born on Earth as an orphan. My parents abandoned me for my gifted sister," Shepard said, with a scowl. "Why is that?" Anakin asked as they turned a corner. "Because," he said in a quiet tone, "she had special powers I did not have. What the power is called biotic. It can do the biotic creates a super dense field of mass around the individual, freezing them in place for as long as the individual wishes or can hold. This field makes the target immobile and impervious to all but the highest kinetic damage, and wears on the user moderately. And much more," he said. "So it's a lot weaker version of the Force, and it seemed this soldier was very strong in the Force." Anakin thought in amusement, and his parents seemed like fools. There was much potential in this soldier that they could ever imagine as. Anakin said, "I sense you're very powerful in the Force," Anakin said nonchalantly. "What is a Force?" Shepard asked. "The Force is a mysterious energy field created by life that binds the galaxy together. Harnessing the power of the Force gives the Jedi or the Sith and others sensitive to this spiritual energy extraordinary abilities, such as levitating objects, tricking minds, seeing things before they happen, and being able to use Force push, and it can increase your speed, strength, awareness, durability, and agility, and many more powerful abilities." Shepard thought it was much stronger than biotics. "And maybe if I can learn it, I can be a better N7 than my sister Jane." As he remembered, he was denied input admissions and getting higher in rank. Just getting lieutenant was hard enough because his parents never wanted him to do better than Jane, his mother. Knew the head of the N7, so she pulled her strings to make sure I got the worst assignments and gave the best to Jane. I did not mind because I'm a soldier, so I did not question my orders. That was until Jane came up to me in the mess hall. And she told me, "A weak loser like you should just drop out of the N7, and mother was just making sure you got the worst assignments because she knows you're not a real N7. It's a miracle a loser like you managed to get in the N7." Shepard thought, "I got the best score of the entire N7 entrance exam in history, and she has the gall to say that I should not be in the N7. As for a moment's red scarring appears on my face, as my eyes flashed red. For 1 second, not noticing, he just activated Renegade mode. As Anakin thought, he has the Renegade mode, which is a very rare Force ability that only I have and this Shepard have. How about I train you in the Force, but if you agree, you become my apprentice?" Shepard thought about it, and he wanted to learn this power. As he agreed, "Yes, I accept. I will be your apprentice." As he bowed, "Rise, Commander Shepard." As they both entered the shadow and set course for Omega. "What can you tell me about your hierarchy?" Maul was pacing around the room. Decimus said, "We are the true power of this galaxy. You are just a primitive," spat Decimus. "Is that so? Will your friends say the same thing?" As a guard through Victus in the room as the bird was trying to get up, Maul used the Force and levitated him towards a chair. He used the Force to fasten the straps. "You damn traitor," yelled Decimus. "You fool, you cost us the battle with your incompetency," said a furious Decimus. "No, it was you who attacked the humans, and it was you who invaded Shanxi," said Victus. "I did this for the glory of the hierarchy, and we would have beaten these primitives if you hadn't surrendered," screamed Decimus, as he was trying to get out of the binds and claw Victus' face open. "Now what can you tell us about your counselor?" Decimus was shocked that they knew that. "For the love of the hierarchy, don't tell these primitives anything." "Is that so? How interesting. You will tell me everything that you know." As Maul was walking forwards towards the two Turian. Scene break. "Turian counselor, we have lost contact with the 7th Fleet." "That's worrying," said the tall bird. "Do you think it's the new primitives that we found that could have done this?" "I'm not sure who could have done this, but whatever it is, the most terrifying force to the galaxy has ever seen," said the Primarch, the leader of the Turian people. "We must fortify Palvin." As the shadow exited out of hyperspace, Anakin was flying towards the large space station. He passing through buildings. Anakin activated his translator and turned on the comms. He said, "This is the shuttle requesting to land." As a soft voice spoke, permission to land granted. As Anakin was steering the ship towards the docking. As the ship doors were opening, Anakin and Shepard started to walk towards the door to the wider station. As a big hulking figure steps towards them, "Ira wants to see you," said a four-eyed humanoid creature. As the alien spoke, "Arya wants to see you, and you will go right now," man spoke. Anakin's and Shepard made sure the translator is on, and it's working. "Can you understand us?" Shepard spoke as the four-eyed creature said, "Yeah, I can understand. It seems this is working." As the duo was walking through the station, an alien spoke, "Humans are a blight upon this galaxy. They should be subjugated underneath the protection of much smarter races as the crazy alien was about to continue his speech. "They're your humans," he spat with venom. "Yes, so," said an angry shepherd. "You should submit to your betters. You see, these are the people that are destroying our galaxy," as the alien was pointing at the duo. The crowd was getting aggressive as one of them threw a rock at Shepard. As the rock connected, it simply bounced off of his armor. Shepard was about to pull out his pistol and start shooting at them. The crowd was all ready to pounce on them. As Anakin turned on his Vader voice changer and Revan's mask as he spoke. "I give you one warning. I would advise you to stand aside," as the entire crowd was frozen. The mechanical breathing was echoing across the station. "Don't listen to this human," the alien shouted. "He can't take all of us on." As one Turian started to entice that crowd, that's one man decided to take out his pistol. As soon as he did that, he was frozen still. The entire crowd was lifted up to the air as they started to grasp their necks. Vader was merely standing there, not altering a word, the sound of his mechanical breathing still echoing across the ship. As he spoke, "I warned you." I see tightened the force choke, not even caring to raise his hands up, just controlling the force choke with his mind. I say all fell limp one by one. Just a moment later he killed the entire crowd, as he let go the crazy alien, leaving an entire hallway full of dead corpses. Shepard was terrified just how easily he has dispatched an entire crowd without even batting an eye as the duo approached the afterlife. As a hooded figure started to approach them, Du was on guard as she was just a few meters away from them. She took off her mask and said, "I presume you're the people that the elusive man sent, and I presume you're that Miranda Lawson." Vader quickly countered. "Did you already know me? Then that we can go straight to business. You're here for the Element Zero, or short EZO. This station is the hub of 70% of all the EZO in the Terminus system, and the current queen of the Terminus system is Arya Cloak. What you need to do to make sure to be established her as an ally for us. If we can do this, we can secure our borders in the northwest part of our border. But there is one rule on Omega: don't fuck with Ira," said Miranda. "Well then she will need to know." "One more: don't fuck with the Empire," said Vader in a cold tone as he walked past her. Towards the entrances, one guard tried to stop them, but Anakin simply used Force String. As the guard fell into the ground lifeless, Vader did not even look back as he kept on walking. "Before he went in," Vader said to "paper for a bloodbath," said Vader. As the door was flung open, Anakin just used force to control his lightsaber, as anyone that got too close just fell on the ground lifeless. I didn't want those trying to fire upon Anakin. The lightsaber kept deflecting it. Shepard was in amazement. He was barely trying. As Vader slowly walks towards the center of the afterlife, his mechanical breathing was echoing across the entire afterlife, as one blue-skinned Asari dropped her weapons on the ground, as she raised her hand in the air, signaling that she was surrendering. As everyone dropped their weapons on the ground, as they moved out of the way, as a calm Vader was walking through the afterlife with his lightsaber, going around them in a spinning motion, daring anyone to come closer. Vader went up the stairs towards Arya's booth, as he merely used a force to knock out her guards. As they all dropped to the ground, Vader's lightsaber deactivated. As he retracted it to his belt, "Sit down," said Vader in a calm tone. Arya was barely containing her anger. The disrespect this person was showing her, especially on her station, but she reluctantly sat down. "Now can you tell me why we were attacked by your people in this station?" said Vader, still as calm as ever. "Attacked you?" said a confused Ira. "Yeah, crazy four-eyed alien encouraged a crowd to attack us," said Shepard. "So you mean the reason you invaded my station was because a random person decided to encourage a crowd to attack you?" said Ira, barely controlling her anger as Vader nodded. "You will be dealt with, and I'll make sure I do that personally," said an angry Ira. "And may I ask the reason of this meeting?" "It is because I want to ally with you," said Vader. "Okay, I'm listening," said Ira. "I need Element Zero, and you won't expand your influence so we can both help each other when we defeat the Council. You can expand your influence into Council space, but obviously you'll be regulated when you do this." "And what make you believe that I think you can beat the Council?" said Ira, disbelieving. "It's because the Council has already been defeated few hours back. The Destiny Ascension was orbiting around the Citadel as a small identified ship flew towards the Citadel. Ma'am, we have an unknown ship approaching the Citadel. What is our orders?" As the captain has ordered the crew to fire upon the ship, not caring if it was first contact or not. Maybe these humans that the Turians keep talking about. The Destiny Ascension opened fire as 100 slug bolts was firing towards the ship. Imperial PA fired the experimental nuclear bomb as a small ship released a bomb towards the Citadel. "Man, we have an unknown bomb going towards the Citadel. Make sure you fire upon that bomb," the captain ordered, as one of the cannons fired at the bomb. As the bomb exploded, the shockwave completely disabled the Destiny Ascension as all of the ships In the Citadel's orbit as a flash of light was seen across the Citadel. In a moment 500 ships of the Citadel fleet was disabled, and nearly 80% of their fleet was completely destroyed, and that explosion as CSEC was trying to restore power to the Citadel, so the life support system wouldn't shut down as thousands of ships exited out of hyperspace. Imperial POV. Open fire on the disabled ships, obliterate them all, said Throng. As nearly 600 of the enemy ship was immediately destroyed, the turbo lacing cutting through the armor like butter, hull systems fulling shield system, down in Asari. Captain shouted us their ship was destroyed. Admiral Munka Solarian, the commanding officer of the entire Citadel defense fleet. Give me a status report, he said to calmly. Sir, over half of our fleet is currently disabled or destroyed, and we currently restarting our systems should have up and running soon. Whatever the enemy deployed seemed to be some kind of nuclear amp. It completely disabled our ships, and now we're currently vulnerable for fire. What are your orders? Protect the Citadel. We cannot allow the enemy fleet to get in close, and warn the Council. Establish communications with the Council. Councilors, the Citadel is under attack. We need to evacuate you, he said. Councilors, can you hear me? The Solarian said. An elite shuttle guard detachment was sent to capture the Council asked over in middle of a meeting. The Councilor: so what are we going to do about these humans? They seem to have destroyed the Shanxi fleet. I suggest you make peace talks with them. Tivos, said the Asari Councilor. I second that, the Solarian Councilor said. This is outrage. We have bled and fought for your species. We were the defender of the Council, and now you try to turn our backs on us when we're at the grasp of victory. Shout the Turian Councilor Spartacus. As they could hear screams outside the room. What are those noises? The Turian Councilor said in annoyance. Can they see we're middle of an important galactic meeting here? As a door exploded, and 6 dark figure approached them quickly. Spectres to us, the Councilors start yelling in unison, as one Spectre tried to shoot one of the Shadow Guards, but a Guardian nearly just avoided it, and used his force pipe to impale the Spectre. The second Inspector tried to rush out one of the Shadow Guards, and he managed to wrestle him to the ground, but the Shadow Gun merely pressed the legs around the Spectre's throat, and start choking him out. The second Spectre fell. The third and final Spectre decided to get out his sword, and start engaging around the Shadow Guards in combat. By mere wave of his force pipe, destroyed the sword in half as a Shadow Guard full of a devastating decapitation. That's all. The Spectres fell lifeless. What is the meaning of this? We are the Council, shouted Tivus. Shadow Guard just ignored her as they were approaching them. As the Shadow Guard put on handcuffs on the Council, they were escorting them out of the Council chamber. As the Turian Councilor was trying to break free from the restraints, but his attempt was in vain as the binds were too strong. That's one Sky Trooper flew down towards the guards as he spoke. Sir, most of the Citadel is under our control now, just got a few stragglers left, but we'll get them in a few hours. Good, the Shadow Guard spoke. I'll start to reorganize the prisoners, and marching them towards the prisons. Yes, sir, as the Shadow Guard flew away. Do you know who we are? You will regret this, Turian Councilor spat in venom. The Shadow Guard pulled out a holo communicator, and activated it as a skinny person appeared on the other side. Who are you? What are the meaning of this? The figure on the other side spoke. Admiral Monk, we have captured your council, and if you don't want them to be disposed of, I order you to surrender. The Shadow Guard spoke of a distorted voice. How like I believe that, Admiral Monk said. Be my guest then, as the Shadow Guard moved aside to show the Councilor. Councilors, are you safe and unharmed? Admiral Monk said with visible concern. Don't worry about us, keep fighting these primitives, said the Turian Councilor. What venom? Disregard that order, said the Asari Councilor. I seconded, said the Solarian. Admiral Monk relayed the order to entirety of the Citadel fleet to surrender. As Imperial dropships was landing, dropping soldiers at each drop zone. Imperial attack was marching in the streets as Imperial fighters were flying overhead, keeping cover. Rows upon rows of Imperial stormtroopers were marching. Rows of prisoners were being escorted. Most of them was donning the CSCC uniform. Admiral Hackett 5th Fleet entered Palavan system. Press on the attack ordered as the 5th Fleet engaged the enemy fleet, numbering in the thousands as fighters were launched. It was a complete war zone in the skies, as one Tyrian ship got obliterated by one of the fleet dreadnought that launched a massive barrage of nuke stores, one of the enemy warships completely obliterating it, leaving nothing left in that ship. As the battle continued, the 5th Fleet was losing too many ships to continue on. That's one of the ship captains yelled. For the comes where our reinforcements, I thought they'll be here by now, as panic starts spreading around the Alliance forces, and some ships trying to make it break towards the mass relay. Admiral Hackett quickly reassured his captains to everything was going as planned. But that was a little bit too late, as nearly one further ships were destroyed. The ensuing panic. Turian POV General Dizola's Arterius had a wide grin. All ships press on the attack, leave no survivors as Turian ships starting to obliterate the Alliance forces. That's as one Turian ship destroyed the one of the 5th Fleet dreadnoughts. A squadron of starfighters managed to break through. The Alliance formation Istale launched ore missiles towards one of the cruisers, destroying it completely, as the fighters are making quick work of any opposition. As the 5th Fleet was in critical condition, as a planetary gun fired towards enemy fleet and managed to hit the flagship of the 5th Fleet, disabling the ship completely, leaving open to fire. Arterius, now the destruction of the human resistance shall end. All ships concentrate fire on that capital ship, as Turians were about to fire on the disabled flagship of the 5th Fleet. The force of 5,000 warships just entered the system. Darth Maul, finally we have returned. Fire upon those ships facing our allies' command ship. As the Star Destroyers were firing hails of turbo lasers towards the enemy cruisers, and the shore's eye smoke was spreading around the ships that was in the vicinity of the enemy ship systems, failing mass reactor down as a Turian engineer screamed. But that scream was cut completely, as the ship was destroyed as a TIE Defender is for aiding their allies. Imperial fighters was engaging the enemy. It was a fierce dogfight. As quickly as it started, the winning side was becoming clear by clear of every second I was passing, as one bald Imperial pilot was flying his TIE Defender. It was one of the Turian destroyers. As for 5 fighters was on his tail. "Let me lose them," he said, as he quickly made a spinning motion flying upwards, seemingly nowhere, as he cut off his engines. As he started plummet down, he reactivated his engines, speeding behind the enemy fighters as he squeezed his trigger as hails lasers of the starfighter's main gun start firing towards the enemy fighter, quickly dispatching the enemy squadron that was tailing him. He quickly made his charge towards the destroyers, leading a squadron of TIE bombers behind him as the TIE delivered their payload towards the enemy warship. "Sir, a squadron of fighters seems to have broke through our defenses. They're approaching our ship rapidly." Before they could say anything, the ship always completely ripped off from the ship. "Sir, life support system is offline." Before they could say anything, the ship was destroyed. That's the shock wave of mass. The reactor knocked a few ships towards each other's in the incoming collision. 5 more ships were destroyed. Arterius, contact the ground forces now. He spoke in authoritarian way. He wasn't about to lose his homeworld. As Turian soldier came up the line, Arterius went towards the terminal as the soldier saluted him. "What are our orders, sir?" "Saren, you must organize defensive lines across this plant. Make sure you assign our best men to guard our key logistics points and potential advantage spots." "Yes, brother," he said. "But why you say this is something happening?" he said worryingly. "Yes, I think the fleet this destroyed the 7th Fleet is currently attacking our homeworld now." Darth Maul. He entered a scimitar. "I see. Led the ground forces towards the planet, destroying any fighters in his path." Darth Maul quickly jumped out of his ship, landing towards the drop points. As he started engaging the enemy forces, he quickly made a swing towards one of the Turians, deep decapitating him. He quickly made a spinning kick, hitting one of the Turians in the face, and with a quick slash, he sliced the bird in half. As he was clearing the drop zone of any enemies he quickly went F towards the AA guns. Of a simple force push to manage and knock it off, destroying the AA guns. As the drop shifts start to unload the soldiers, Sky troopers for clearing the surrounding area of any enemy presence. They quickly made it a command post. Now they're just waiting for the orders. As one shuttle came down, that's a man with Mandalorian armor jumped out of the shuttle. "Maul," he said as he took off his Mandalorian helmet. Maul turned around. Vizsla as gave him a handshake. "It's good to see you here." Maul said and missed this. "Never said Vizsla. Did you bring Death Watch?" "Of course I did. Where I go they go." "So what are your opinions about this enemy we're facing right now?" Maul said. "They seem to be professional, but they don't seem to have the technology that we have, nor did they have our fighting spirit. Maybe they make a worthy hunt," he said with a chuckle. "Well, let's plan the assault. I recommend that we take our finest Sky Troopers and Mandalorians towards their main population center. Our Sky Troopers are professionally trained in these environments, and with our mobility, we can outmaneuver any of our enemies. And with your Mandalorian experience and tactics, I think I'm no doubt that we can root the enemy out. Any restrictions?" Vizsla said. "None," Maul replied. "And for the second order of business," Vizsla said, "we are getting there." Maul replied. "We're going to send a detachment of our elite Shadow Guards and some of our allies, N7 to assist us of taking out the planetary gun," said Maul. "About these N7, are they any?" Vizsla said. "All I know is that there are allies, best of the best you can say. I'm pretty sure they can get the job done," Maul said. "And what about you?" Vizsla said. "I'm going for their military high command. It should be staged on this highly fortified military base." "You got your job, Ghost," said Maul.